What's the best way to put your Zone Mortalis platforms together to make them truly modular? You've got all these little plastic squares and none of them go together and actually stay attached. Like, none. Let's make these actually work. Hi guys, welcome back to the State of Play. Today we're going to figure out how to assemble your platforms with as much variability so they'll work on top of your columns and walls to make them semi-modular, because they can't actually be fully modular. I'm not really sure how we were expected to use these without gluing them together. The instructions in the box don't really elaborate in any meaningful way. They show a few simple options to cap columns and walls and attach stairs. The implication is it's totally up to you, and they must be glued together how you want them, depending on how you want to design a tile. But it appears you pretty much have to pre-design your entire tile first, figure everything out, how you want to assemble it, and then glue everything down. At least that's how I interpreted it. Or maybe I'm utterly wrong here, and the way I've done it is exactly how you're supposed to do it, and I'm just an idiot. It's probably the latter. Because there's absolutely no way to use these individually or make them fully interchangeable. And you see, when I bought them, that's exactly what I thought you'd be able to do. In my head, I saw Lego. In reality, it's a kid's jigsaw puzzle that won't actually stay together. But what happens if you're using the folded paper mat that came with Dark Uprising, or a battle mat that you've decided to buy yourself, or you've decided you're not using the tiles, or you want to use these in terrain games other than Necromunda? And you want to be able to assemble this in different ways each time. They all come as individual pieces, and while the vent fits snugly on a column using the teeth, the runner platform kind of fits using a clever moulded shape that slots over the top of the walls, but it's just loose. And the other platforms have these little tabs that fit, but just don't actually clip or attach. The only solution is to glue most of them together for them to work. But which ones? Which combinations will give you enough variety to make any table you want? We're going to need to figure out how to glue these together to give us the right shapes to be able to cap a set of semi-modular columns and walls, be able to add stairs, elevators, ladders, join sections together to make bigger platforms, and not have them all fall apart while you're playing. You can go really overboard with these, so I'm again working with 4 boxes. In the end, I bought another 2 boxes because I actually wanted several more combinations and to extend these scratch-built walls. More on these in another video. Yes, I've said it before, it is coming. These are the cheaper of the 3 Zone Mortalis boxes, so I always planned on figuring out a way to use more of these than the more expensive columns or tiles. I figured I could always make walls out of card or foam or MDF and just glue these on top so they'd link easily with the plastic kits. In much the same way as we did for the walls, I planned all these shapes out first to make sure they matched up. I'm actually much quicker on a computer than on paper, so I tested all the possible combinations in Illustrator first. This allows you to figure out the best solutions before you commit to glue. Once these things are glued and painted, you don't want to be ripping them apart again because you got it wrong. If you've ever played Tetris, then a lot of this will come as no surprise because that's all these platform combinations really are. With Tetris, you just slide little shapes into other little shapes to fit them together. All you need to do is figure out which of the little shapes are the most useful. The best way to start is to cut all the platforms from all the sprues and organise them to see what you're working with. Little piles. Then you can start grouping. A vent and a runner platform give a good way to join 2 separate wall sections together for stability. And you can also make another bridge. An L shape allows you to do much the same, but you can do both a join and a bridge. And create much needed stability when joining platform sections together. This means that you don't really need to make cross platforms, because joining other pieces together will end up making these for you anyway. The T section gives you even more ability to join walls together whilst also creating bridges, and they help when adding hatchways with ladders. And having a few single vents works because you can create toppers for columns and make bridges. A vent, a runner platform and a tabbed platform glued together make a great way to attach stairs. You can make a left version and a right version. The long platforms already come in the kit with 2 runner platforms, so you don't really need to worry about those, but you could do with gluing 2 tabbed platforms together and cutting off some of the tabs. These make great alternative bridges and also allow you to create larger flat areas. Keep the tabs that you cut off for use later, because they come in handy for modding other bits of kit. After you've made a bunch of these main ones, you're then free to make as many others as you want. A bunch of miscellaneous shapes. I personally made some C shapes, some long T shapes, a fat L shape. I just used up what I had left. And the last ones were just to make a bunch of laddered hatchways, because the ladders have to be glued in or they fall out. One of the parts of the kit that you really wanted to be modular isn't. So once you've got all of your Tetris pieces, what kind of things can you do, and will it make things easier? I can't stress enough how much more stable doing this made the entire table. Things genuinely clip together and hold together. And because I'm not using the tiles, I'm not limited to how close I can put vents to the vents. I hope that's helped demystify the platforms a bit, because when I opened my first box, I wasn't really sure what I was realistically supposed to do with a bunch of plastic squares. It looked like endless possibilities, until you tried to do anything with them, and then they all fell apart. Gluing a few of them into shapes really solved the modularity problem. Thanks again for watching. I'll hopefully see you in the next video. Like, subscribe. I say it every time, hoping a few of you maybe will.